Good morning. It is Sunday morning. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm here with a Sunday thought. I have to already excuse my throat. I don't know why. I've got a frog in my throat, and I hope it stays away while I've got to talk, but I've been coughing, trying to cough it out for a wee while. Well, today is the 17th of December, which, if my daughter was still alive, she would be turning 60 today. So there is a thought of that I put out this morning to wherever she was in her busyness on the other side, that she is, God has my love as always. Now, I've been really busy making sure that my talk on Wednesday at Norma Talks, where I will be reading my Christmas metaphysical message story. Actually, it's a story part based on what we know about the birth of the Christ, and also a story I have in there as well, sort of with it. So I've been refining it to the point now I'm telling myself, leave it alone, because I'm probably going to do more damage. But during that, I was looking at some of Jesus's messages, and one of them is I really like is forgiveness heals. And he's giving him saying what to do, basically. Forgiveness heals, to love God, to love one another, and to know the kingdom is within. What hits me with that, what comes in there, is because I've done a lot of forgiveness work over the years. I find that it's easy to forgive somebody else for being the way they are. The hardest is self-forgiveness, to forgive self. And yet we are a part of everything that happens. We have a part of it. We're a part of the scenario that's going on, the story or the situation or whatever. And I found there was a time period, not that long ago, actually, I spent probably a good 6 months every night connecting in with the love source and forgiving myself for whatever. And I added throughout all time, meaning all my many loves, working to clear whatever was happening so I can be at peace at all times, because you cannot be peaceful really inside if there's things that still rankle you about things. It can be little things. I mean, I have a mouth sometimes. I say things without thinking. As those of you that watch me here know, I can do that very good. Really is a sense of sometimes I'm inappropriate. Let's put it that way. Over the years, as I've become older, and maybe many of you out there that are moving on in age, you kind of manage yourself a little bit better. But when I was young, oh my, I used, without thinking, I just sort of used to blurt things out, and sometimes created issues for myself and other people being very kind of annoyed at me. Anyway, I had to forgive myself, but then I had to forgive other people sometimes for what they did or whatever. Those were easy, but me, not so much. Because we have that critic. Well, I haven't really talked about the critic inside, but we have a critic inside that criticizes, because we're not perfect. And yet we are perfect in every which way. But a group of us that used to talk a lot about these things many years ago, we used to say, we're perfect in our imperfection. How do we know and understand who we really are if we're not rubbing up against the edges sometimes? If we're not being challenged to some degree or some way or some other, how are we going to know the depth of who we are or the essence of who we are? I spent some time trying to figure out, and I'm just going to throw this in because we're getting close to Christmas with all the God stuff. I wanted to know from a very young age what God was. And I used to spend a lot of time thinking about this. I remember I played field hockey, and I had quite a long walk up to my house up a hill, by the way, to my house after practice. And I was by myself. And so I would walk along and I would play games. if God really exists, then this would happen. Like a bus would go by or something, like crazy games, trying to figure out this God thing. And that was a governing point in my life, to figure out what's God, who's God. I really found when I began, first of all, to work with the tarot, and this is many years later when I come to Canada, well, actually probably not that many years later, I came to Canada. Sorry for this throat. It's really bad today for some reason. I'm probably choking on the God talk, but that's okay. That was my sense of humor, by the way. Sorry about that. When I came and started studying tarot, I began to find more of the philosophical and the spiritual side of things, and not just think about this major point, and began to recognize how we can look at different energies and things like that. And I began to, with one of the courses I took, ran into the universal love energy. And when I ran into that, in fact, there's a story about that, which was one of the group had run into it the weekend before. And I knew as soon as I touched this energy that was kind of outside of me, that it had to come inside. I knew it within the bones of my being. Now, as we bring that energy in and maintain it, it really does fill the heart, and you begin to work from that place. So that was still, I had to refine a lot of things with that. That's when I began also, after that, I began to learn the prayer method that I use on Monday nights. And here we go again. And Monday nights when I do the mental mind treatments with the prayer method that I learned, has a lot to do with understanding the force, understanding the essence of who, what, when, and where. It wasn't until many years later that I really began to understand. I am so sorry for this. I really sincerely tried for a long time to clear this before we began. No, that's going to be better, because that feels like that got something. Anyway, talking about forgiveness, talking about love is probably not the easiest subject at any point or any time. So sorry, I'm going to go back to the point. I'm sorry to be a bit scrambled for this, but I don't like it when my voice goes like this way. When I began to realize the full impact of forgiveness, of course, we begin by forgiving other people around us for being who they are. But when we come to our part of it, our place, if we really accept that we are the vibration that brings and draws people to us, if we really take a look at the part that we play in all things, then it's like forgiveness of self becomes very, very important. And as I said, I spent approximately 6 months every night when I went to bed connecting with the love source, forgiving myself for whatever throughout all time, because I can't possibly know every little thing that I, upset people or did something or whatever. And I did find it brought me a lot more inner peace, little more quiet, more awareness of what I could do and what I couldn't do within my life, with the restrictions and other things that happen or go on. So forgiveness on the bigger picture is really having that love source, that connection to the one power, the one essence, whatever you want to call God. It's got many names depending on the religion that you're in or whatever. So God, if you add up the numerology of God, it's a 9, which is everything. So it's like God sits quite well in my mythology. But it is a matter of knowing that your peacefulness, your ease, your comfort with the world around you is so, so important. And so it brings forth many, many, many things. Self-forgiveness, I still believe, is the hardest forgiveness to do. And yet is something we all need to do before we make that big journey across out of the body and into the ethers. Because if we've got anything attached to us that's unresolved, that's going to go with us. And as I found, we bring into the next time or another time, or it sits there until we actually deal with it or work with it. So that's my thought for today. But I also want to remind that on Wednesday, I am doing my story. And I noticed Maggie G is on and says, good morning and looking forward to my story. Your story, so it's my story. Thank you for today. You're welcome. And Mr. Cooper Music says hi, and I say hi back. And I thank you for your comments, and I support and subscriptions that are scribing. There's still odd ones coming in, so please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. It really helps the home force. This will be the last Sunday thought, I believe, anyway, until the 7th of January, because next Sunday is, I think that's right, how it's going to work, is, I wrote it down, Christmas Eve. And then the next Sunday after that is New Year's Eve. And there's some things I want to do that will take some time to look at too. So anyway, there's going to be some more information about that later. And who knows? Some of you may have got my post I sent out about Wednesday's talk. That was the first time I've ever done that. I'm trying to look at some other things I can add to my YouTube world. And I can't figure out shorts yet. So that's what I'm working on. Anyway, lots of blessings. Have a good today. Have a good week. See you Wednesday. Oh, no, I'll see you tomorrow night, Monday, mental mind treatment, prayer time. And also we will be able to see you next Wednesday. And Sharon has just walked in and says she's looking forward to listening to the story. Hope you have a happy holiday. Oh, yes, so do I. So all the blessings, have fun, enjoy. I hope your weather's nice wherever you are, and that you remember, look inside. Is there anything you need to forgive about yourself? And do it, because the love force loves you for who you are and is always willing to take it, whatever you want to give it. Blessings to everyone. No, bye now.